Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Howdy, everybody. Good morning, Bryan College Station. Welcome to a Monday edition of TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. I'm Ryan Brauninger inside the Rollo Insurance Studios. I'm with Olin Buchanan. This is the Go Hour, presented by Maroon U. Maroon never looks so good as it does with Maroon U. OB, good morning.
Good morning.
It was a late night and early morning for me, but you know what? We ain't digging ditches here, right? Get up and come to work, and let's talk about what we saw on the field last night. We will talk about what we may see on the field tonight, and we will talk about that extensively throughout this show without Coach Early, who has other things to do today with not only the most important game of his coaching tenure coming up tonight, but also the baseball transfer portal opening this morning. So just
any pitchers in there?
There's going to be some pitchers in there. There's going to be some
any pitchers that A&M can get.
Well, it's funny because there's really not a great time to have the baseball transfer portal open. It is the one that is up against the semester the most. And, you know, you can't make roster additions in the winter. So you can't add players in December and January in baseball. You have to send your roster in the fall. So no matter what your spring roster is, those players that are on the spring roster have to come from what you send in the fall. So you can't make additions, whereas Mike Elko, Bucky McMillan, they have the entire spring and summer up until that fall semester starts to make roster additions. And this truncated portal window combined with regionals, super regionals in Omaha has really got these college baseball coaching staffs are up against it in terms of having to make really tough decisions, not knowing with who's coming, who's going, who's going to get drafted, who might want to come back. So there is a lot on Coach Early's plate today. It's understandable that he tried to reschedule later this week, hopefully rescheduling to preview a super regional in North Carolina.
Yeah, hopefully. It's going to take some better pitching.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. We have a lot of baseball talk here this morning. Let's go around the room, though. In the Angry Elephant News and Social Centers, Miss Kayla Gaither. Good morning, Kayla.
Good morning. How are you
Did you make it through all 9 innings last night?
So I went to Aggie Alley for about 3.5 innings, I would say. And then I was starting to get a little tired, so I made my way back, watched the rest of the game. From my bed, I will say it was a little tiring to watch it. I watched until we were down 4-1, and then I decided, you know what, it might be
that was
easier.
after the first inning.
Yeah.
I stayed for about 2 more innings after that, and then I said, you know what, I might as well just watch.
From what I understand, there was some, I'll just say belligerent behavior happening in Aggie Alley. Not by you.
Not by
but
me,
maybe
no.
by some other people under this same roof right now. Good morning, Nick Savage. I'm not implicating you in that either.
Oh, no. I'm too old for that. But there definitely was some self-admitted, too. Like, I'm the boss, and they're talking about it in here. I don't think I would be talking about getting hammered on Sunday night before you have to come into work. But to each their own. We're
not naming any names either. It could be anybody. It could have been Kay Negley.
That's where I placed my money.
Wow.
All right. That is our producer extraordinaire, Nick Savage, calling balls and strikes. You know, it's going to be very difficult for me. I haven't guest hosted in such a long time that I will probably make errors today introducing the show like it's BT. Royo didn't make an error last night.
You know what?
Kellner did.
You know what? Yeah, they didn't make errors from the score. Sorry.
Oh, he should have made one of them for sure.
When the ball's hit right at you, I don't care if it's hit hard. I mean, this is big time college baseball, right?
I agree.
I mean, it's not high. The ball's hit right at you.
Got to catch it.
And you boot it. And it's a hit? Come on. Who's the score?
So here's the thing with this team is even the tough plays like that. And I've talked to
I thought the defense was really bad last night.
I thought it was not good.
Like there were times when like trying to throw a guy out at home when you have chance.
For sure. Goes to second.
Things that
you had a pitcher come in that doesn't get to pitch much and is a veteran, not a freshman, comes in and gives up a single and doesn't back up home and is stuck in no man's land. That ball could have kicked and gone anywhere. I want to get to all that.
Okay.
But I've had conversations with Cliff Pennington about, the tough chances for this defense. He's like, yeah, these are tough chances. He said, but given with, how they've struggled on the mound, you got to make them.
Yeah.
You have to make them.
Well, even if you're not struggling on the mound, great teams, very good teams make those plays.
Yes. You're just up against it, right? Like when the ball's put in play, and that's another thing with this team is that the ball this year is getting put in play harder more often than it ever has.
Okay.
And so that inevitably makes for tougher chances. Thank you, sir.
Man.
I needed some juice this morning.
Man, look at this.
Thank you. That's intern Matthew.
Brauninger, running things over here. Like,
I told him
intern.
I didn't do that. I said, I asked Nick if I could borrow an intern.
Yeah. Bronny this morning, first thing he said, can I borrow an intern this morning?
I'm surprised.
And we were all looking around like, what do you need? And he's like,
I'm surprised you didn't make that guy come in with like a towel over his arm.
I should have. Like Mercy's garçon, s'il vous plaît.
And make him bow when he gives it.
So the A&M defense still fielding at a really high clip on the season. The last probably 3 or 4 weeks, I think they've taken a little bit of a dive, but compared to where they were when they were playing really well. But
you mean without Hakopian out at second base?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have happened in this baseball season, and still they're 42-14, 42-15, and with a chance to go play in a super regional.
All that matters is being 1-0 tonight.
That's right, and whenever you have a pitching staff that has gotten, the ball gets put in play harder, it means that it's going to be more difficult for the defense. But you got to make them, and you know what it is. And so when you get those chances, that was not an easy one for Royo yesterday, but he didn't put himself in a great spot. The one to Kellner is an easy play, but he goes to his right, his feet get stale, he doesn't cut down and get the short hop, and it eats him up. So all that stuff gets compounded whenever you give up 14 loud runs. And there were times last night that I thought A&M, especially through the first 3 innings, I was like, you know what? I think the Aggies are going to score a bunch of runs because they were hitting the ball hard. You think about the first inning, you had Grahovic hit a rocket right at the third baseman. Mm-hmm. Partita lined out right at the right fielder, and then Hakopian had the home run. Right. And they just kept going. I'm like, man, they're hitting the ball really hard. At one point in the game, OB, it was before the 3-run homer by Lamb that was really the dagger, right? You go back and look at it, even though it was the third inning. Before that home run, Texas A&M had hit one ball softer than USC's best ball.
Was that?
It was Keel hit a ball and chopped the ball in the ground. Now, I didn't count the foul out, so it could be. But in terms of ball in play, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter because as the game went on and on and on, it was one-way traffic. USC outplayed Texas A&M by miles in every phase of the game last night.
I'd like to think that A&M knew that without meaning to, but hey, I'm playing with house money. So for whatever reason, you're not necessarily as focused. I'd like to think that was what's going on, but I think USC that night was just that much better.
Well, we got to talk about USC as well. But I wanted to get into the biggest question that we're going to talk about today is who's going to pitch tonight?
Yep.
And Ethan Darden, who was starting his 4th game in 2 weeks, understanding his role, that's not over pitching him because, outside of one outing against Mississippi State, he didn't throw hardly at all in each of those starts. But for him to only give you 19 pitches, and they scored 4 runs on.
Yeah, it was batting practice, man.
And it just sets the offense behind the 8 ball, and you can this team can come back from deficits. We've seen them do it all year, but you're really stacking the deck against you whenever you are. It's the 2nd inning, you're going to bat, and you're down by 3 runs against a team that USC is playing outside of their mind right now. They had 1 misplay against Texas State in the opener, and then Texas State came up and got a big 2-run homer. Since that moment, OB, USC is waxing this regional.
Yeah.
They are blasting. They blasted Lamar, they blasted Texas State, and then they blasted A&M last night. These games aren't competitive. They are by far, they played by far and away the best baseball here.
Isn't that somewhat predictable, though? All right, I don't know how many good pitchers Lamar has. First one, he should be here. I get so frustrated seeing pitchers from South Carolina and Connecticut, and there's all these pitchers in Texas, and we don't have them. And then a guy from Lamar comes up and pitches really well. But anyway, that's another story. So I don't know how many pitchers Lamar has, but I would think that they don't have a lot of great pitchers. They're Lamar. I don't mean to be that disrespectful, but you know what I'm talking about.
It's mid-major, Southland Conference, yeah.
Right. So then I think you told me that I always want to call them Southwest. Texas State, didn't they pitch 3 of their starters?
Yeah, in that opening game. Yes.
Okay. So now USC's facing the next guy at Lamar, and then I don't know where the guy was in the pecking order that they were facing against Texas State. And then let's face it, against A&M, let's just be honest.
Well, we've buried the lead here because we haven't talked about the Aiden Sims news, which came down Saturday night. That's
what I'm saying. So who are you against A&M? So they should be hitting the ball. And I know we're going to get to Aiden Sims. What I was disappointed in last night, obviously the pitching, but aside from the pitching, is that the offense wasn't more productive than it was against their number 3 starter.
Yeah, and that was their legitimate Sunday starter.
Yeah.
And that is not what, A&M didn't throw their legitimate Sunday starter because Aiden Sims is out. And Aiden Sims, I can say with really good certainty that he was progressing to pitch in this regional. Everything was kind of aligning to at least get him on the mound in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying start a game and go 6 innings or out of the pen. I don't know, but he was going to pitch. And then he had a bullpen session that you have to throw to get yourself worked up and ready to pitch, where that injury he had really started barking at him. Now, what I've been told is that injury is not Tommy John ligament replacement type of surgery that is going to keep him out for an extended period of time, through next year. From what I understand, he should be back fully healthy in the fall, assuming everything progresses the right direction. Now, what we said about this A&M team, especially through the back half of the year, is like they can make a run, but they can't lose. Right? If they get into a regional and they lose, it's going to be hard for them to get through all the games necessary out of a regional. They're more set up for a super where it's only going to be a 3-game weekend at most, like every other conference series. But whenever you lose Aiden Sims, it's almost like you lost the game.
Right. Oh, I know. Look, if Aiden Sims pitching last night, I'm going to the game thinking I'm feeling really confident.
Yes.
And I was talking about the offense. Look, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just trying to delve into what I think is human nature and psyche. And you get a 1-0 lead, and then the next next time you come up, you're already down. You had the lead for 1/3 of an inning, and now it's 4-1. And it's got to be like, I'm pressing. I got to make things happen.
You're right. You are exactly right that can overwhelm an offense.
And it just keeps happening. And how often can you just keep counting on or depending on your offense to keep bringing you from behind,
Yes. They give up runs early, seemingly every game. You go back to the Mississippi State series, and then you go to the SEC tournament against Auburn. Remember that SEC tournament game against Auburn, you had 2 outs and 2 strikes in the first inning with nothing happening, and Auburn ends up scoring a run. And then it just snowballed on them from there. It happened against Lamar. They scored a run in the first inning. It happened against Texas State. They scored a run in the first 2 innings.
Wasn't that last night's game the first game that they took the lead? That they took the first lead?
Yeah, and that was because they got the hit first.
Right. And then, but like I said, they had the lead for 1/3 of an inning.
16 pitches, something like that. So, yeah, you're right. It is human nature
My brain hurts.
to get behind and start feel like we have to go get hits.
What are we doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, if your brain hurts, you need to kind of rewire where you're at. You could always go to holistic planning. They are in for your future. So regardless of how you're feeling today, if you need something from holistic planning, think about the future, OB.
Yeah, I am thinking about the future, from the holistic planning cool zone. I'm thinking about the future. So I'm thinking about how holistic planning can set me up for the future by helping make money now and make money for later and keep more of my money away from the government, which is always important.
Always important. And the government is starting to get more involved in college sports now.
But that's because, can I say dumbass on?
You just did.
Because the dumbass that was in charge of the NCAA, they asked the government to do it.
And at some point, if the NCAA is going to be, we've gotten really far afield from talking about A&M pitching, but if at some point, if the NCAA is going to be a completely feckless organization,
which it is,
and every time they make a rule or a ruling, somebody just says, I don't like that, I'm going to go to court, and the court's like, yeah, we side with the plaintiff.
Well, that's why they need the antitrust exemption.
Yes, they've got to do something. I am not for a lot of government oversight and intervention. Tell me one government program that's made things better.
Tell me one business, one industry that says, hey, let's go to the government to set our rules and how we want to do things.
I feel like Nick Savage has got an opinion on that. He probably knows some.
Yeah, you're acting a little communist, Bronny, this morning.
All right, we're going to commercial break.
No, I'm just kidding.
When we come back, more with OB here on the Go Hour. TexAgs Live, we are going to preview tonight's game. I promise we'll get to it. OB's a little bit distracted. You know how we get it. It's the B-team version of TexAgs Live. We'll be back. Welcome back to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers inside the Rollo Insurance Studio. It's the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. If you want to interact with the show, you can call us or give us or send us a text, 979-693-1150 on the Buppy's Catering Hotline, the Catalyst Pure Performance text line. Put Kayla Gaither to work over there in the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. OB, let's talk about tonight. We'll give you the manager hat for a second. Who would you pitch? Who would start the game for you?
I don't know. Maybe I put all the names in a bag and just. Hey, I'll
put
just
all
ask,
the names in a bag.
I'll just ask you, Bronny. This is what I would do. I would. This is what I'd do if I'd call up Bronny. I would, and I'd say, Bronny, I don't care what their role is up till now. Who's our best pitcher?
It's Clayton Freshcorn.
That'd be my answer. What would be your answer?
I would start Clayton Freshcorn, and I would let him go as long as
How
he
many
could.
innings do you think you could get out of Clayton Freshcorn?
He throws a bunch of strikes.
Okay.
It's the highest strike percentage on the team. It's one of the highest strike percentages of any reliever in the country.
Okay.
So you're assuming that the ball's going to stay in the yard and it's going to be manageable.
Here's what I'm thinking.
Even if it's not, you got a better option?
Well, here's what I'm thinking. You're going to say, oh, gosh. Then who are we going to have in relief? That's true. That's a concern. But if you don't start Freshcorn, which I'm not saying they're going to, but if you didn't, the way things are going, he may not pitch in a meaningful inning.
Yeah. If you're not going to start him, he's got to be close to being ready to go into the game the entire time. Like whoever you start, even in the first inning, Freshcorn's got to be attentive, watching the game, and where he can get ready to pitch at a moment's notice. Now, here's what I told Richard last night in our post game. He was asking if I thought A&M should have some sort of opener or somebody can you try to squeeze some outs out of somebody so that Freshcorn doesn't have to, come in the game off the rip. And I said, here's what I know. If Clayton Freshcorn starts the game, he's going to at least pitch with it tied.
Right.
Ideally, you give him the ball with a lead.
Right.
In whatever inning. But are you guaranteed to ever get that?
Right. Okay, how about this? How about, I know he couldn't have thrown a lot of pitches. I don't know what his pitch count was. Cedeo's kind of schizo, right? So, there's times you go out there and he pitches really well. So what if you say, I'm going to start Sadeo, but with a very short leash.
Oh, I'm going to start Olin Buchanan. I'm going to start Kayla Gaither. I'm going to start Ryan Brauninger. I'm going to start Nick Savage with a very short leash. It doesn't matter who it is. If it's anybody else on this pitching staff other than Clayton Freshcorn, they've got a short leash.
Yeah.
He's your best pitcher, and he's fully loaded and available to go pitch for as long as you need him to, for as long as he can.
Now, let's say you start Freshcorn. Gaither, if you got an opinion on this, throw it in. I want everybody in this, because we're all grasping at straws. Let's say you start Freshcorn, and you get 5 innings out of him, 5 good innings, but he's done. Now, who you bringing in?
I think Gavin Lyons has got to be on that list.
How many pitches has he thrown this weekend?
Yeah, but he bounces back, and he's done that all year.
Okay, I'm not saying you're wrong.
We have people in the comments are asking if Shane Sadeo could make an appearance tonight. What are your thoughts?
I wouldn't be surprised if he started. I'm not calling for it, but he didn't throw a whole lot of pitches. Hey, you were up at Palo Alto a couple of years ago, right?
Yes.
When the Aggies are trying to get to the, I guess, what are they about 3 years ago? When you were out at Palo Alto?
It was 2023, yes.
Okay. Didn't Stanford have a pitcher that had pitched a whole lot of innings, like 2 days before, and came back and started and actually pitched well? Maybe it was 3 days before, and pitched well against A&M to get them into the Super Regionals.
Man, if you remember that, you got a better memory than I do, and I was there. I don't remember a ton about that regional other than A&M had major pitching issues, walking guys. And it's been
Is this the worst pitching that you can remember at A&M?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you go all the way back, and I've been covering A&M baseball for 11 seasons now, and you go all the way back to
Rob Childress.
Pitching their issues were completely inverted.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why it stung so bad when they weren't able. Whenever in 2015 and 16, where you weren't able to get out of a super, because those were Childress teams that had the pitching and the hitting, and it came down to, you lost 2 good TCU teams and nail biters. But yeah, top to bottom. And look, here's the issue for me. Without even diving into the health of the pitching staff, Shane Sadeo got off to a decent start through non-conference, and then as conference play started going on, there was clearly something going on where it was either they were hitting the ball really hard over the fence, or he was creating a bunch of swing and miss. Why is there so big inconsistencies? And why hasn't Gavin Lyons developed anything that goes to his glove side? And that's my question, is where's I'm just, these guys you should be able to change some usage and do some things to make guys better in the season. And maybe they tried it and it's just not stuck. But that would be my biggest question, is the development part of it.
So I think if I'm Michael Early, I think
there's been people asking about Weston Moss. I don't think he's going to be available for much of anything.
Could you get an inning out of him?
Through 91 pitches.
I know. Could you get an inning? Could you get 1 inning out of him?
And typically, it's up to him. It'd be up to him and how he feels. But, typically you are the most sore 2 days later.
Right.
And that's why I don't expect USC to pitch Mason Edwards, who is the national leader in strikeouts, pitched against Lamar.
You think you'll see the guy that
now
pitched the first game for them?
Maybe Grant Govel. I don't know. Nick, have you seen anything about them announcing a starting pitcher?
I have not yet, but we're keeping our eyes out back here.
Yeah, and I would. My internet's frozen. If somebody could look up how many pitches Govel threw against Texas State, he went for a little bit. And you have to understand kind of how these things work, whether you agree with them or don't, and I don't. But this is the way the world works. And I don't have this on great authority at all. So I want to preface what I'm about to say that this is complete speculation. But what I think happened with Mason Edwards for USC, so Govel could give them something today.
Then okay.
But he's got a whole other day rest ahead of Moss. For Mason Edwards, USC scored a bunch of runs early against Lamar, and they kept running Mason Edwards out there. I think he threw almost 90 pitches. I think the USC pitching staff or coaching staff got a call from somebody saying, whenever you want to pitch him, he's going to pitch, and then you're not bringing him back. Sometimes these coaches don't get full say on how games are managed. I'll just say that. It's a shame. But we'll come back. And so, look, kind of unanimous Clayton Freshcorn starts today.
That's what everybody in the comments is asking for,
Yeah.
starting Freshcorn.
I'm just saying I would understand if they went with Sadeo with a short leash. Hey, 2 hits in the same inning, you're out.
Well,
and then just hoping that you can get 2 or 3 innings.
To your point, if you have a guy on your pitching staff where you don't know, you don't have any kind of trust of what he's going to be, the top end could get you 3 or 4 innings, the bottom end could get you a third of an inning. You always start that guy because you have the trustworthy guy to come in and save it. If you start the trustworthy guy and he's not good, what do you do then?
Yeah.
So if that's their thinking,
you just dive into that transfer portal.
When we come back, let's talk about maybe what the A&M offense could do.
Okay.
And how you would construct this lineup depending on, especially with how USC swung the bat. So a lot more to get to as we continue to look ahead to tonight's regional final game at Blue Bell Park between Texas A&M and USC. We're rolling right along here on a Monday morning on TexAgs Live.
Hey everyone, David Nuno here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it.
The Notorious B.I.G., Olin's favorite rapper, bringing you back here at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, Monday, June the 1st, 2026. Ryan Brauninger filling in for David today. Nuno will be back tomorrow. It's the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. If I blinded you, not just put a blindfold over.
Blindfold.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Would you know the difference between ice cream and yogurt?
I think, depending on how good how quality the ice cream is, I think I could. But it'd have to be, you know, that.
So the determining factor would be quality of the ice cream, not quality of the yogurt.
Right. I think so.
Okay.
I think. Look, I like them all. You know, I be honest. You know, that's why. You know, I've got the. I'm not going to say it. That's why I'm. You know, that's why
You know what? Sometimes I'm the one that throws the bait out there and dangles it in front of your face, and then I act like you said something outlandish.
You want me to make fun of Reese?
No, I didn't. That's not Reese.
I'm not
that's
going
not.
to.
No, that's not.
I'm not going to.
Reese chose to
walk around with his shirt off.
Won't say where. It wasn't at the office. I'll just say that. So. Yeah. If Josh is listening, we won't have any kind of issue on that front.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were talking about in the commercial break. We were talking about the
difference. Aggie Alley? Where is Aggie Alley, by the way?
Behind the left field wall. Where?
Yeah.
Well, Gavin Grahovic hit a ball over Aggie Alley last night.
I heard you call it. I'd left, so I missed that, and I hear that's the longest home run I've ever seen to left field. It's up on so and so. It's up on the. It was balcony.
On the balcony. It landed on the balcony of the rec center. I've never seen, in all the games I've gone to at Bluebell Park, I've never seen a ball hit to left field go that far. I've seen them to center field and to right field.
Yeah.
Jay Lavalette hit one to center field in 2024 against Sam Houston State in the midweek. That TrackMan had it like 476 feet. I don't think that the distance on Grahovic's last night was correct. It said 446. I think if you hit the ball, that didn't make sense. It probably went further than that. And maybe because it hit something, it didn't get a proper reading on how far it went. But the biggest highlight on a rather dud of a night for the Aggies, Gavin Grahovic, who has now homered in 3 straight games and continues to kind of etch his name in the all-time record books at Texas A&M. I was having a conversation with, I'll just say it's a very invested Texas A&M fan. And
okay, Gaither.
And we were talking about historically where Gavin and Sorrell sit at A&M.
Okay.
And I said, of all the great players that I played against when I was at McNeese, and Luke Anders was the first baseman at A&M, and he's got a bunch of the top 10 and a lot of the records. As good as Jack Moss was, as important as Teddy Burton was, if I were making a all-time Texas A&M team, I think Gavin Grahovic would be my first baseman, and I would have no qualms about it.
Maybe he could be your first and third baseman.
Third baseman, you have an SEC player of the year. And the kid playing third base right now got a chance to be pretty special too, and Nico Partita, which is a good segue into Kayla Gaither. I want to get into some of the comments that we've gotten today over the Angry Elephant News and Social Center because
angry being the key word.
Angry is the key word, and a lot of people discussing what may happen on the pitcher's mound tonight and throwing out some names.
Yeah, one comment here, we're asking about, if Partita would be on the mound tonight, if that's an option for A&M to have him on the mound. So, Bronny, can you discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, so the thing with Nico, obviously a very decorated high school player and pitcher at Pearland High School. The last time he pitched in a competitive game was over a year ago in high school. He has not pitched competitively in a real atmosphere at the collegiate level. I do not think, despite his immense talent, you can ask that kid to go try to pitch in this game tonight. And for a couple of reasons. It's not fair to the kid. Now, he don't care. Like, he would go compete. But you're going to ask him to do something he hasn't done in over a year in the most competitive atmosphere possible this season. And another thing is, what happens if he hurts himself?
Right.
And then you lose him for the remainder of what may be this season and the entirety of next season.
Well,
the risk is too great.
What I'm worried about the entirety of next season, I'm going to say that if they find a way to win tonight, I doubt they're winning the Super Regional. I just don't think so.
I'd bet on North Carolina, or I would think that North Carolina has the most advantages clear cut, but it is baseball.
I know.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, since you brought up next year, and look, yes, there's another game to play, but at least one. But do you get him, because of your pitching issue, do you get him ready to be a hitting pitcher once a weekend?
No, I mean, it can't be just a hitting pitcher. It would be like Jack Caglione, where it's a first baseman pitcher. He would be third baseman pitcher. So it wouldn't be like Shohei Ohtani, where when he pitches one game, and then when he's not pitching, he hits.
No, I'm saying that he's in the lineup every day.
Right, but whether he's third baseman,
whether he's playing third or pitching.
Yes.
But would you put him in a rotation? Would you get him ready?
Probably not. If given Nico's profile as a pitcher, it probably fits more as a reliever.
Okay.
And they're bringing in. For instance, there's a kid at Tomball High School right now that's signed with Texas A&M named C.J. Sampson.
We need you, C.J.
C.J. Sampson is like Nico, extremely advanced.
Don't cut your hair, C.J.
Extremely advanced hitter, like could come in and be an impact bat the way Nico has been.
Okay.
But is also a very accomplished high school pitcher. Now, I don't know how that's going to translate, but he has been the ace pitcher at Tomball High School, the best baseball program in the state of Texas for the last couple of years. Really? He's been their guy.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
And his dad pitched in the big leagues for the Houston Astros for a long time. So that's kind of in his DNA, but he is a really advanced hitter. I don't know how you split the time collegiately with, practice constraints still, limitations on how long you can be where on the practice field, which I think is outrageous. But I think heavily lean toward Michael Early this offseason being so aggressive in the transfer portal and making additions on the mound that I'd lean toward Nico Partita never throwing a pitch at Texas A&M.
I got $60 for you, Early.
So we start pulling money every morning, just
from everybody.
You just pull out it'd be something if Bucky or Early or Elko.
It's 20 for each of you.
Yeah, they could. No, you could put a bucket out of like a suggestion comment box, but it's for NIL donations. Just if you want to, just stop by and slip a 20 in there, and it kind of goes into a chute into a big basket inside the facility.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the new. That's another thing, too.
I'm surprised they haven't already thought of that.
In today's day and age, for sure.
Really.
And that's another thing, too, is as Coach Early goes into this transfer portal market, the new facility will be a massive selling point. Massive selling point.
Let me ask this. I know we don't know who's going to pitch for USC tonight. But what should we expect? What is a reasonable expectation from the A&M offense tonight?
Well,
how many runs is it going to take to win this game tonight?
Depending on what you think
you're the
answer,
baseball guy.
Yeah, and if you're starting Clayton Freshcorn, you're going to go probably less than what we typically allow, probably.
Okay.
But unless he goes hero ball and goes a complete game, who else is going to get Clayton Freshcorn is going to get me outs. Who else is going to get me outs? I don't know the answer to that. If you think you are going, and by the way, we haven't talked enough in this hour about what USC has done in this regional. I briefly glossed over it. Olin, they're hitting over 390 as a team in the regional.
Yeah, I talked about that. That's somewhat expected considering the pitching they faced.
They were a 272 hitting team coming into the regional.
Yeah, but they weren't playing. And not trying to take it. I suppose those two guys, those Lopez, they're brothers, right? They got to be twins. But anyway, yeah, it's a really good hitting lineup. But when you're getting meatballs served up to you, like you're at 1860, then you ought to be hitting a high.
So the calculations we did roughly at the end of the broadcast last night, 390 as a team in the regional. Their OPS going into last night, their on-base plus slugging percentage was over 1,100 as a team, and that went up last night.
the one pitcher that they faced or the one group of pitchers that were
the first game against Texas State.
And they scored 4 runs. They had that in 1 inning against A&M.
Yes.
But as you know, the same. So it's they got the second guy from Lamar, and then they got the fourth or fifth guy from, and then they got batting practice against A&M.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about. I mean, we got to get to this lineup, and what would you do if you have to score a bunch of runs tonight? How will Mike Early and Cliff Pennington put that roster and that lineup together? All right, we'll close the go hour on the other side of the break. You listen to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Hey everyone, David Nuno of TexAgs Live, and I'm here with Brandon Moreau of Brazos Valley Floor and Design. They're a family-owned business, and Brandon used to work for the A&M football team, the Texans, you name it. Brandon, tell us a little bit about Brazos Valley Floor and Design.
Yeah, like you said, family business. We started in 1999. It was in a small feed store, and about 4 years later, my dad decided he wanted to grow the business and kind of focus on that. So we're in the location we are at now, and we have a large showroom with salespeople with designer experience, a lot of stocking power, and we catered a lot to residential builders, and we do a little commercial work as well.
Tell me about your other company as well, Premier Countertop Design.
Yeah, Premier Countertop Design is right there on site, so it's kind of a one-stop shop. People can come by, they can look at their slabs that they're going to cut, they're going to compare to their cabinet colors, their backsplash that they're going to do at our flooring store, and we have a lot of digital. We're doing a lot of digital stuff. We're templating, water jet, laser measuring, all different things like that.
So tell me a little bit about what sets you guys apart from the rest of the competition.
I think just being here in the community for 27 years in business, and our vendors that we have the relationships with, the pricing we can get because of how much we can buy in stock and things like that. And then as far as the countertop business, it's just the way we can be precise with what we do.
All right, there you have it, guys. Check out the website, bvflooranddesign.com and premiercountertopdesign.com.
All right, closing the go hour here on a Monday morning. Ryan Brauninger, Olin Buchanan at the main desk. Kayla Gaither in the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Nick Savage producing the show. OB, quickly tonight before we got to get out of here, what how would you construct the lineup tonight? And how many runs do you think A&M needs to win?
Probably 9. And that may not be enough, but I'm going to say 1 inning. Okay, I would get, if Jordan Wilson's right, I'd get him back in the lineup. I know he's struggling, but he has the ability to hit it out.
He did play defensively against Texas State, but he hadn't gotten an at-bat in 2 nights and blowout games in either direction. I just wondered if there was something going on. I haven't asked, so I don't know. But I'm in agreement with you. If you feel like you're going to have to score a bunch of runs, I think Jordan Wilson's got to play in the game.
I'm no expert, don't claim to be, just a well-informed fan because I'm sitting next to Brauninger. That makes me a well-informed fan. I would, I think I'd have Bear Harrison as my cleanup hitter.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be flopping him and Partita, and Partita's been good.
I would have I'd have Bear 4th, Partita 5th, and
Dewar's had a good regional.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, and I think if you're trying to make a lineup that is as offensive as possible, and I want to say this, and I said it last night on the post-game wrap, there is, what I'm about to say, there's massive risk involved in it. But given the circumstances, I think it's at least understandable. Coach Early has said that Gavin Grahovic's been working out at second base. Now, Gavin Grahovic has never played second base maybe in his life. But if you were going to try to get as physical of a batting order as possible.
Okay, so you're going to put the big kid from College Station,
Bender up
at first, Grahovic at second,
Royo at short,
Partita,
and then you have
Jorian.
That's as physical of a lineup as you can have.
Okay,
that's going to give you the most slug potential of any combination you can put together. Now, I'm not saying I would do that. All I'm saying is if you believe that you are going to have to score 9 or 10 runs, those are the guys that give you the best opportunity to do that in one game. But there's obviously enormous risk that comes with that. Yeah. You're playing a guy in a position in a win or go home game that has never played there. But that
the glove work has been so good at that position.
But and to your point, that guy isn't just some random kid. It's the best player on the team.
Yeah.
And Gavin Grahovic.
Yeah.
I don't think that would happen. It'd be a massive roll of the dice. But everything's on the table in a win or go home scenario.
Yeah. I would hope that they'll be more patient at the plate today. Understand. I'm sure they try anyway. But if you can get that walk, and if it looks like it's out of the, they need more guys on base.
Yes, and they've got to be better early in innings. They can't get stuff started with 2 outs. Where USC was awesome with early in the innings last night, A&M was poor.
So you're saying fresh corn tonight?
Fresh corn tonight. That's what I would do. All right, we come back. Richard Zane.
I'm
going to
bring the baseball discussion tonight.
On the other side of the break, on a Monday morning edition of TexAgs Live. Welcome back to the 9 o'clock hour of TexAgs Live. I was going to make a commentary on the song that brought us back, but it's probably better off given the current circumstances surrounding the artist that was rapping, or the main artist of that song, that we probably leave it alone.
Who was it?
It was a late 1990s rapper who's been in the news recently. What do you do?
It's like Baby Oil?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. We'll leave it alone. But
I heard
maybe
Nick's picking the music.
No. Baby Oil might be the way for Reese to go in Aggie Alley. I hear it's good for your skin.
Greased up.
Greased.
Wow.
It's going to be my lead tonight if A&M wins. We're not going to talk about baseball at all. It's just going to be the extracurriculars out in the alley.
Welcome to the official B-team version of TexAgs Live. Nick, I hope you understand that this whole show, this whole program is now unapologetically a
college baseball
show. For the next 30 minutes, Ryan Brauninger and Richard Zane, as we are together every Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. on the B team. We are taking over the TexAgs Live desk, which means I'm going to need Nick to go to the back row, and I'm going to need Cade Bickham to sit in that chair for the next 30 minutes.
Not going to happen.
Why is that?
Because this is my show.
Hey, Nick, because we're a
hand-up show, by the way.
Unapologetically college baseball program. Does that make June our favorite month?
I mean, there's an argument to be made. I know y'all completely. Oh, I get what you're doing here.
Hey,
but
it's a men's college World Series this month.
In a more serious note, dude, this weekend was awesome. Like all the games across the country, all the upsets, like it's awesome. I was gonna ask y'all on Friday whenever I was hosting, like where, and obviously y'all are baseball guys, so it's gonna be up there. But in terms of postseason, like where does the NCAA baseball tournament rank for you in terms of the most entertaining postseasons out there?
I'm extremely biased. That's an easy answer for me. It's number one. I've been locked in from Friday all the way through. Obviously, when A&M plays, I'm not glued to the TV and keeping up with scores, but the games have been off the charts good. You have Milwaukee, the worst team in the field, is on the verge of going to a super. They're going to have to beat Auburn. Yep. Auburn beat them late last night. So that is a winner-take-all game in Auburn. The Tallahassee Regional has been bonkers. Little Rock is in a super regional. Florida could have punched their ticket to a super last night.
Lincoln got weird.
Lincoln got real weird. You've seen ejections. You've seen, and then the biggest storyline is that UCLA, the head and shoulders #1 team throughout the duration of the season, is out of the tournament at the hands of St. Mary's, a local mid-major.
I think it's either the fourth or the fifth #1 overall seed to not make it out of its own regional in the history of the tournament, and only the second time that the #1 overall seed didn't even get to a regional final. And it's crazy. And to your point, the two best teams that I saw this year were UCLA when A&M was up in Arlington. Got to watch the Bruins a lot, and that was obviously early on in the season. And then Auburn. Saw them for 4 games against A&M this year. Those are the 2 best teams I've seen in college baseball with my own eyes, and both of them might not even get to the second weekend.
And continue the discussion about college baseball parity, which is interesting because you would think that in this age of player movement and transfer portal, that the power programs will be moving further away from the mid-majors, and it's not true. This is something that I think would be a worthy study for somebody to dive into, is why has that gap closed instead of widened? Whenever June hits, the best players are already seeing it. That the baseball transfer portal opened today. The best mid-major players in the country are getting in and trying to go to the SEC, to the ACC, to the Big 12. But why are we seeing so much parity still? Mm-hmm. And to continue that point, here is the 2025 Omaha field as it stands today. LSU missed the tournament. Coastal, 0-2 in the tournament. Louisville missed the tournament. Arkansas bounced in the regional. UCLA bounced in the regional. Oregon State bounced in the regional. Murray State missed the tournament. Arizona missed the tournament. That's last year's Omaha 8 this year.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's a good kind of example of the wackiness of baseball, just what the game is in and of its own, but also what college baseball is. And yesterday was bonkers across the country. UCLA kept surviving. They survived by the skin of their teeth against Virginia Tech. And then they had several chances to lose the game against St. Mary's, and then the Gales finally break through. But you're like, everywhere you look, there are disappointed and frustrated fan bases because their teams are getting upset or beat by lesser programs. Well, what are lesser programs anymore? It's a fascinating thing that's happening in college baseball.
Man, you are destroying the chat right now because you've said program like 4 times in 5 minutes, and it's not even 9:15. They are hammered drunk right now.
Well, I'm glad that the
many
B-Team
shots.
chat members are in with us this morning.
So many shots. Back to Nick's original point, though. Where does the college baseball tournament rank on my, postseason viewing watch list? Everybody talks about the first 2 days of March Madness as perhaps the 2 best days of the sports calendar because you've got games from 10:30 until 10:30, essentially, maybe even 12:30. How many baseball games are played on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? I've had 32 each day.
That's incredible.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's absolutely up there, and I know that the college basketball fans out there are not going to want to hear it because March Madness is still way more mainstream, and the games are all on linear network television, and it's easier access to watch the tournament in March. But this is every bit as crazy, entertaining, and fun as that tournament is.
It's been a wildly must-watch TV.
Yes.
Since Friday. And the attention, though, that we need to turn ourselves to is what will happen tonight at Bluebell Park. I'll ask you the same question that I asked Olin. Who would you start on the mound? Oh, you have thrown out an opening pitch before.
I have. Threw it 67 miles an hour with a spin rate of 420.
That's
like just that many revolutions
that's a
on its
knuckleball.
way to the plate.
You threw a knuckleball.
Yeah, well, it's actually just because I'm sorry.
How many inches of horizontal break?
Whoa, what did you say? How many what?
Well, Nick, I don't know how many inches. My math's not great there. Certain rulers are different sizes. Anyways.
Who would you start on the mound, Richard?
I'm with you, Bronny. Like, the way you explained it last night in our rapid reaction, the way you've explained it today, Clayton Freshcorn's the pick. Because he is your best pitcher. He has been your best pitcher all year long. And he can provide you length. He's a strike thrower. He's the guy you most trust with the ball in his hand, regardless if it's the first inning or the 9th inning. And if you're going to give him the ball with the game tied or with the lead, there's only one moment you can guarantee that scenario happens today. And that is at 8:06 p.m. Central Time. Clayton Freshcorn, you're going to need some sort of heroics. And if I have to pick somebody from the staff to give me a Herculean performance or to help pitch me to a spot where I feel good about getting to a super regional, it's 25. Hands down. Nobody else is really even close as far as, do I trust them? Do I think they can give me something amazing? Now, everybody can. We saw from Andrew Johnson yesterday from USC. I don't think anybody in Cardinal and Gold would have expected that to be the guy who pitches you into a decisive Game 7.
Well, and the decisions that A&M will make in the lineup, I think, will be determined by what is going to happen for USC on the mound. And I don't think Andy Stankiewicz gave anything away last night.
No, he did not.
And I doubt that they will bring back Mason Edwards, but Grant Govil could return in a limited start. He threw, what'd you say, Nick, in the
89.
89 pitches.
I know.
On 2 days rest.
Edwards threw 85 on Saturday.
And you're not going to bring him back on a day's rest. I don't think Weston Moss is available at all tonight.
I disagree there. I disagree. And
Man,
I know
that's risky.
I know it's very, very risky. And I know there's money involved and there's futures involved for both of these kids. And Edwards a little bit more soon than maybe Weston Moss. But it's Johnny Fullstaff, all hands on deck. We're ready to go. We're winning. We're trying to stay alive. If everybody's got to be ready to go. Yeah, everybody's got to be.
If
hot.
Edwards and Moss can give you something, it won't be much.
Maybe an inning max, right? But if you need Weston Moss or if you need Mason Edwards and the matchup says these guys are the best versus this part in the order in the 7th inning, whatever, I think Stankiewicz and Early both are going to have to fire that bullet.
Now, what you said about Freshcorn is true. He's the best pitcher available, fully healthy, fully loaded on either roster. A&M, it's incredible. This pitching staff, they have an all-conference pitcher, and that's Clayton Freshcorn, and he is
first team all-conference.
And he's available to pitch for a while tonight.
Yeah.
And we know that he can extend his outings, and it wouldn't surprise me if he threw 70 or 80 pitches, even north of that tonight. Just kind of, it depends on what happens. Now, the risky thing is if you start him and he's not great. Well, regardless, if Clayton Freshcorn pitches and he's not great tonight, I think you have a really low chance of winning the game.
Exactly. If Clayton Freshcorn's not on, then you're going to have to find another way. You might have to post 21 runs or whatever, but some of the scores around college baseball this weekend, that's entirely possible, apparently.
So you got to get 27 outs, and no out is more important than the other. So whenever Clayton Freshcorn's in the game, unless he goes, again, complete hero ball, somebody else is going to have to do something on the mound tonight.
Somebody else is have to give you some hero ball.
I don't know who that is. And that's kind of where they're at. And I'll say this, the best stuff that I've seen from an A&M pitcher this weekend, outside of the 19 pitches from Freshcorn against Lamar,
Vincent,
is Hunter Vincent. Hunter Vincent now, though, has thrown in back-to-back days.
38 pitches last night. Seems unlikely today.
Especially after throwing on Friday.
Yeah. And Auburn fans.
Or Saturday. Yeah.
Auburn fans are in my mentions earlier this year. That's a lot of pitches. Never in the history of baseball has anybody thrown like over 35 pitches and come back on back-to-back days or whatever. At least that's what they think out on the plains. Have fun with Milwaukee tonight, gentlemen.
I would bet on Auburn tonight against Milwaukee.
Sure, but it's college baseball. Anything can happen.
For Hunter Vincent, though, like the stuff is real. I mean, he fired a 98 on the in-stadium gun last night and looks like a pivotal piece to next year's team, regardless of what you think, who's coming out, who's coming in on the roster. But Hunter Vincent's a guy you need to keep because there's a lot of promise there. We don't know the availability of Hunter Bond.
Yeah. Well, you said what he got hit in the head with a fly ball during batting practice.
Line drive, yes.
Friday or Thursday during practice day?
It was Friday.
Okay, so before the game
against Lamar. Yes. And I talked to him a little, and he thought he was going to be fine. But those head injuries,
concussion protocols.
You don't know.
And you don't mess around with them either.
Yeah. Outside of that, like we've seen just about everybody that has pitched in any sort of leverage scenario this year for Texas A&M. We've seen them already this weekend. So, but Gavin Lyons will be able to give you something.
And Lyons wasn't great last night, but you said it yesterday. The past is never predictive of the future. So Gavin Lyons and his ability to bounce back, he could bounce back and have a much better, stat line and give you 2-3 innings of scoreless baseball today, and you'll take it. You'll take it. If it's Gavin Lyons, if it's Ethan Darden, if it's Hunter Bond, if it's Hunter Vincent, if it's Kayla Gaither, if it's Kay Nagley, you're going to take it. If they can give you something, take it.
If you're able to get zeros in USC's offensive half innings, like those be standing ovations when the team comes off the field.
Yeah, it's going to be antacid ball. And I do want to say I shouted out Kayla and Kay because I think they're better pitchers than
me. We do have to talk, and Olin, you got pretty fired up, but I do want to have a discussion about what USC's done offensively in this regional.
Well, you were saying ridiculous numbers to me last night. Like
they're crazy.
It's insane. It's impressive. And really the only thing you can do is kind of tip your cap to them because that's nuts. The fact that they scored 19, 15, and now 14. I'm not a great
48
guy.
48 runs in three games.
I'm not a math guy.
52 in 4 games.
But what is that average?
52 in 4 games. It's obviously over 10. What is that? 13? 13 runs a game. They're averaging 13 runs a game.
That's wild. And it's a team that doesn't...
They haven't done this all year.
And think about it. When we were coming in, we were previewing the regional and looking at the pod and all of that. We're like, there's 2 teams that slug and score a ton of runs, and there's 2 teams that pitch really well. And USC was not in the first category.
It's funny. I got into
by a long shot.
I got in a little bit of a back and forth on the boards about somebody was like, I guess what happened to this theory, which was a funny word. What happened to this theory that USC doesn't have a great offense?
Well, they've got a guy at the 7 spot. Is that where Andrew Lamb's hitting? 5 RBIs in 4 innings last night, or 3 innings last night.
But and the kid in Center Urban
just
he had 40 at bats coming into the weekend.
Impossible to get out last night.
And
only one dude didn't have a base hit for the Trojans last night. It was Covarrubias at the leadoff spot.
The myth that USC wasn't a good offensive club was based on, again, myth, was based on their overall numbers of the season.
60 games worth.
But that's like saying, you watch Weston Moss pitch and you go, well, I guess A&M having pitching issues was a myth. No, one performance does not override season-long trends. What USC has gotten red hot here, and you can see how confident they are in the batter's box. That was their best day offensively on the entire season. Up to yesterday, there was one time in the regular season where they had scored more than 10 runs in 3 straight games. It was the 2 final games against Michigan State, and then whoever they played in that midweek who wasn't any good.
Spartans versus Trojans? That's crazy.
So they have not they haven't done this at any point during their season. And it's not like they're scoring a bunch of runs because they're getting walks. Like they're getting a ton of hits. And that is why
14 runs on 17 hits yesterday, right? Like they earned their way on base yesterday. A&M didn't issue a ton of walks until late.
And when they hit the ball hard, they went in the gaps or over the fence. When they hit the ball soft, they found holes or landed. Like it was a complete dismantling. And that's what they've done since game 1. If they make a play in their opener against, was it an error at short or at third against Texas State in that opener, and then Mora hit the 2-run homer to put Texas State ahead? If they make that play, we may not be sitting here talking about a regional game, a regional final game. We may be talking about how USC came in here and walked through this regional.
Yeah,
that's the type of ball they're playing.
They would have had Mason Edwards in a 1-0 game against A&M on Saturday night.
And with the way they're swinging the bat. I mean, now the good news is, like you said, the past is never predictive of the future. It is, though, the confidence that they're carrying right now it's going to take something special on the mound from Clayton Freshcorn or whoever to keep them from scoring big crooked numbers. And when we come back, I want to get your opinion on, do you make lineup changes? Are there different faces in the lineup, understanding that USC's averaged 13 runs a game in this regional? They went 19, 15, and was it 19, 15, and 13, whatever it was, 15 and 14 in their last 3 games. Their team OPS is over 1,200. They're hitting over 390 in the regional. Knowing all of that, do you make decisions on your lineup trying to predict that we're going to have to score as many runs as possible? We'll get back to that when we return here on a B-Team edition of TexAgs Live. Another segment with Richard Zane when we come back.
Hey friends, David Nuno here for the Association of Former Students, and have you checked out the latest issue of the Texas Aggie magazine? The May through June issue is a special Aggie Spirits issue that includes all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. And the team at the Association of Former Students searched far and wide for Aggie-owned businesses, breweries, wineries across the state, the country, and even the world. That's right, the globe, baby. And as much as could be found has been compiled into the magazine for the Aggie Network. Now, normally, the Texas Aggie magazine is available only to Century Club members. However, this issue is available to everyone. So to read the issue and explore giving to receive future issues, visit tx.ag/Texas Aggie. That is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Again, don't miss the special Aggie Spirits issue of the Texas Aggie to explore all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. It is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Check it out.
Bottom of the 9 o'clock hour, we're rolling into it. On a Monday morning edition of TexAgs Live presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. A segment or two more with Richard Zane. I did not realize that we didn't have a guest in the 940 segment. So we will continue our baseball discussion with Kayla Gaither in the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, who's got some text rolling in on the Catalyst text line.
Yes. So this text is from Wendy in College Station. She says, "It looked to me like USC was throwing more off-speed pitches than we would normally see. Not at the same percentages as Lamar, but I think they took notes and are incorporating it into their game plan." So she asks, what do we do? Hit the pitch in the zone on pitch one or keep taking pitches to get deeper into the bullpen?
Yeah, it's a tough decision. You go into every game with a scouting report and percentages of pitch usages. And so if a guy is completely off script and going either above or below on some of those usages, you do have to change some things in game. For instance, Chris Olivier for Lamar was a 30% fastball usage on the entire year. That's a low percentage. So you know coming in that you're not going to get many of them. He was less than that against Texas A&M. And when A&M got to him, finally broke through in that 5th inning, it was an early in the count curveball to Gavin Grahovic that he hit over the fence, and it was an early in the count changeup to Chris Akopian that he hit over the fence. And so I do think there are, as trends start to develop in a game, especially if they are outside or a little bit outside of what the scouting report tells you, there are some adjustments to be made. But I am not of the opinion that being patient at the plate often and running up pitch counts, that's not dictated by the hitter in a lot of ways. Like if the guy's going to throw the ball over the plate, throw a ton of strikes, like for instance, Clayton Freshcorn, if you sit there and just wait, you're going to be 0-2, 1-2 every at bat. That's not a good place to live as an offense. And I'll say this, USC last night, there was something that it was either a scouting report, we are going to be super aggressive early in counts, or Andy Stankiewicz looked at his group and said, you guys are playing out of your mind. Swing away. Like, you guys are free to swing when you want. I lean probably more toward that. Is like when you have an offense going the way he's got it going right now, don't say anything. Let them, if they get a good pitch to hit, get their swing off, you're not going to be too picky about what they do because of the production that they've put up so far in this regional. But I was surprised at how aggressive they were early against Darden. And it made it stick, and then it changed the game. It changed the outcomes and put A&M in a hole again. And Olin brought up in the first hour, like he was asking, can that be demoralizing and put more pressure on an offense? For sure it can.
Absolutely. Well, we talked about it. Some of these earlier crazy games that A&M played with high, I think it might have been Oklahoma, where A&M scoring a bunch of runs and here come the Sooners. And then A&M scores a bunch of runs and here come the Sooners. Like, the offense can only come back so many times, right? Pitching's got to do its job too.
Speaking of Oklahoma, they rallied yesterday and took a game from Georgia Tech, and now there's an if game. So
there's 6 if games today.
And
6, maybe 7. And that's not because of the joke, because Florida State's got to play who? Florida State's got to double dip St. John's to get out of the Tallahassee Regional.
It would just be wild to me that if UCLA and Georgia Tech, both who, in my opinion, were the clear-cut best teams in the regular season, they both go out in the regional round. That would be pretty wild, too. A mid-major in St. Mary's and a team that was scuffling like crazy in Oklahoma, who's already lost in the postseason and would have to rally back out of the losers bracket. This regional format is the most unique weekend of the season for every team. And you've got to play well, and you've got to be on the right side of some good fortune. And that was with very rarely do you see a team just dominate, all the way to Omaha. There's going to have to be some things that go your way. The best team in A&M history had a ball hit third base. Or who knows how that game against Texas ends, because Texas was the home team.
Yep.
They could have walked. Evan Oschenbeck makes one bad pitch and they hit it over the fence and the game's over. And the national finalist would have been on the ropes in their own regional with a very depleted pitching staff.
Yeah.
That's the margins in college baseball. That's the margins in regional play. You have to get some balls break your way. And so A&M, they got it against Texas State. They didn't get it last night.
Well, you talk about the margins being razor thin and balls having to bounce your way and stuff like that. Hasn't that been the case all season long in the Southeastern Conference?
Yeah.
So Texas A&M has been battle-tested in situations where one pitch, one mistake can alter an outcome probably more frequently than a team coming out of the Big Ten. So, again, if you're looking for some sort of positive storyline when you're having to go in a if game and a must-win, A&M has been in tighter spots throughout the season in game 3s of regular season series more often than the USC Trojans have.
I think how both teams handled tonight will be very interesting. USC may be viewing this as playing with house money. They're on the road. They've been playing well. They're playing free and loose. A&M is where you're going to have some pressure to get out of your own regional in front of your home fans. But we saw A&M take the field that way against Texas, and they played very, very well.
Well, A&M comes up, so scenario, you're talking about A&M playing with pressure because they're a national seed trying to get out of their own regional. What happens if whoever's pitching, probably Clayton Freshcorn, comes in and throws up 0 in the top of the first, and then A&M scores 3? Because A&M's offense is capable of doing that. They're capable of catching fire at a moment's notice. Then the pressure completely flips and goes all on the first base dugout because at the end of the day, this is a win or go home, regardless if they're playing at Bluebell Park or Dado Field out in Los Angeles.
You go back and you look through the first few innings of last night, especially when A&M's trying to chase down a 4-1 deficit, and they're needing runs, and A&M's hitting the ball hard. It's just Grahovic and Sorrell and Nico. Oh, you got to hit the ball hard, and they hang up. And
Kevin Takuchi made so many plays in the first couple innings that were demoralizing.
Jake Dewar hits the ball that Urban catches. I don't know if it's a homer. If it's not a homer, it's at the top of the wall.
He flips it up to himself. That was funny.
It was, and then you look at USC, who until the Lamb homer, the 3-run homer, none of their hits, the double by Lopez in the first inning, he kind of hooks a ball off the end of the bat, and to me, that ball staying in the air.
The double is crazy. The fact that it went that far was nuts.
And the fact that it stays in the air that long, and where TK and Sorrell were playing, that neither of those guys can get, it was in the perfect spot.
Yep.
So, but I'm not trying to belittle what USC did or say that, oh man, A&M just got unlucky. A&M got their butts beat last night. But as you're chasing runs early in the game, you're looking at that going, man, if A&M was on the right side of some of these well-hit balls, does the game feel more within reach, and can A&M make it a little bit closer? And then, if that game is in the 5th and 6th inning with it tied or tight, does A&M bring in Freshcorn there, thinking that their offense is going to be able to overcome it and win the game? So it's good to see the Aggies back in the home dugout tonight.
Well, they're always on the home dugout, but at least they'll be able to
on the home side of the
white.
scoreboard, yeah.
Yeah, at least they'll be able to wear their white pants.
All right, I'm going to keep Richard around for one more segment. When we come back, we're going to go around college baseball. We're going to look at some of these other regionals and some of the key storylines around the country. We come back on a Monday morning edition of TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. 10 super regional tickets punched, 6 remaining here today as the action around the country gets started.
And I think it's 5 SEC teams already through. 5 more playing today.
The action gets started today in Tallahassee, Florida, with St. John's versus Florida State in the regional final. Florida State needs to beat the Red Storm twice to advance out of their home regional.
We actually called them the Red Storm. They're the Johnnies.
I think they're the Red Storm.
I think officially their nickname is Red Storm, but I know everybody just calls them the St. John's Johnnies.
St. Mary's punches a ticket to North Carolina, Texas, Georgia, Kansas, Ole Miss, Alabama, Mississippi State, Oregon, Cal Poly, and Little Rock. All of those teams, 10 teams, have advanced to the Super Regionals. And as I said, we await the outcomes of 6 more today.
I think the least surprising one on there is that Southern Miss did not get out of the Hattiesburg Regional. I think everybody and their mother could have predicted that one.
And some teams that we thought would have issues in their home regionals had none. Kansas, Alabama.
I think Kansas was the popular pick to get upset by Arkansas, and the Jayhawks are through. Impressive stuff from them this year.
One of the more intriguing games to me today is West Virginia and Kentucky. The Wildcats had 1 foot into the Super Regional round yesterday and completely blew it late. They had a balk to tie the game, then immediately give up a homer to West Virginia, and the Mountaineers were able to hold on at home.
You said 1 foot into a Super Regional, but if Nick Mingione and company bounce back, they'll have everybody else with their foot in their mouth saying that they shouldn't have been in the tournament field at all.
And we've seen
in the final 16.
Last year was it? Murray State was one of the last at-larges into the field.
Mm-hmm.
And they make a run. We've seen Ole Miss get into the field as the last team in,
win the national
title. It's about getting in. What's funny is, where would you be on a state of the program or a
program? Finish your drinks.
Just if you have a bad regular season and go on an insane postseason run, I don't think that's the sustainable model. I think really, really good seasons, back to back to back, and eventually you keep putting together good rosters and good seasons, you're going to break through. But man, one magical run would be a lot of fun too.
No one's going to apologize for going on a magical run as a 3 seed and winning a national title. Why would you ever apologize?
No, I'm not apologizing. Yeah. I'm just talking about
I understand
program trajectory.
I understand what you're saying. Because if you think about that Ole Miss team in 22, they win the national title. They're the last team in. A lot of people thought they shouldn't have even made the field of 64. But
same deal Kentucky's dealing with right now.
What about the year after that? What did Ole Miss do in 23?
Nothing.
Missed the tournament altogether.
Yeah. I mean, that's been a common
point. Yeah, it's not sustainable, but I think I'll trade 1 year of glory for I'll trade 3 weeks of glory for the next season if I have to.
The games today, as we mentioned, Florida State, St. John's, and Tallahassee, Oklahoma, Georgia Tech in Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Auburn. Those next 2, all these remaining are the final game of the regional. Florida State has to beat St. John's twice. The rest are win or go home. So I mentioned Oklahoma, Georgia Tech, Milwaukee, Auburn, Kentucky, West Virginia. Troy blasted Florida yesterday.
Crazy.
Just got up and walked away from that game. Was close until about the 5th or 6th inning. And then Troy started hitting the ball over the fence a bunch, and they run away from Florida. And then the nightcap will be here across the street. Texas A&M host Southern California.
That's not a nightcap. That's a late nightcap.
These 8 o'clock first pitches are killing me.
But hey, I won't complain.
We're not digging ditches.
I'm not complaining. I've been watching West Coast baseball my entire life. I am prepared for today. Nobody is going to be more prepared in the press box than Richard Zane today.
Wow. Strong claims.
I'm going to have some coffee, and then I'm going to take a nap, and then I'm going to have an energy drink.
Coffee, then take a nap?
Yes. Well, I got to have some coffee to get me to lunch.
Okay. Coffee, then a nap is usually the inverse. It's usually a nap, then coffee. But whatever works for you.
We're going the heavy-duty stuff.
Different strokes for different folks kind of thing.
Oh, talking about strokes.
Tonight.
What's your favorite stroke song?
I don't really know.
Yeah,
Billy Squire? Doesn't he sing the...
I don't know.
Isn't he the guy that sings The Stroke? I don't know. Not 80s
There's
music.
There's a band called The Strokes.
Oh.
That's,
Don't know. I don't know them. Probably one of your favorite bands.
What do you
But what do you
I don't
think?
think they're one of
Speaking of, well, that was going to be a really heavily innuendo segue. Well, let's just talk about the lineup tonight.
Oh.
What would you do? Is there a small inkling of you that would put Grahovic at second, Bender up at first, and Jorian in right?
No. I understand where you're coming from.
I don't think that I'm not saying that I would do it either. It's just a fun discussion.
I know. You brought it up last night in Rapid Reaction, and I understand the logic, right? You want to put the most physical lineup out there because you think you're going to have to score a ton of runs and keep up with USC to possibly win the game. I understand that there's merit there, right? And in your scenario, it would be Bender up at first, Grahovic at second base, Royo at shortstop, Partita at third, and then Dewar, Sorrell, Wilson in right field. I understand that because each of those guys, one swing, the ball's going 400 feet out.
Which I thought once the game got to, was it 7-2 or 7-1? I thought Jorian was going to get those at bats in right field for the remainder of the game because you needed to impact the baseball. You needed crooked numbers.
Yeah, and I understand that. But to me, in game 57, when Gavin Grahovic has not played second base in his Texas A&M career, making that move would be extremely, extremely, extremely reactionary.
Yeah, it would be.
And as a manager and a head coach, I don't think you can be reactionary in the biggest game of the season.
That's
I think
very
you got to be
fair,
proactive and trust. Unfortunately, and I understand the other scenario, the cliche is that hope and belief is not a strategy, but you have to hope and believe that your guys are going to be your guys in the game that matters most. You know, you've got 3 first-rounders at the top of your lineup. You've got a professional hitter hitting fourth in Jake Dewar. You've got Bear Harrison, who now has the school record for most bruises in a single season, and Ben Royo's been getting base hits, and Jorian Wilson could potentially be your next first-rounder. Nico Partita was a freshman All-American and a potential first-rounder, maybe a number 1 overall guy in a couple years. You've got so much talent in the lineup as is, playing their normal spots. Those dudes just have to be themselves and perform. So, yes, I understand why you might be inclined to make some lineup changes.
And I'm just playing devil's advocate with some of this
I'd say
stuff.
they'd be drastic lineup changes in that scenario where you've got Bender up to second base, but I don't think you can do that here.
No, Grahovic to second base, Bender up at first.
Yeah, excuse me.
And like I told Olin in the first shower, it's not just some guy, some random playing second base.
No, it's a
legitimate
one of the greatest players who's ever played here playing second base. And I trust Gavin Grahovic to do anything on a baseball field at this point. I mean, I know he's your emergency catcher, right? And yeah, Gavin Grahovic, he can do whatever he wanted as far as
it's too risky, and it's completely out of character.
I agree.
But if things get haywire early and you're playing catch up,
maybe nothing is off limits. It's win or go home. There is no tomorrow if you don't win. So do whatever you think gives you the best chance to win, and let the chips fall where they may.
Okay. I was talking to Nick. I'm not a professional host like David, so when Nick talks to me in my ear, sometimes
inside baseball, I just told him to do the double Dave's read if he can.
Hey Nick, what do you think of Andrew Wu's hair?
Pretty fresh.
He got a perm.
I think what Andrew Wu did was he saw Cade Bickham's fade.
Yeah.
And then wanted to be just like Cade Bickham because who wouldn't?
We're having a fade off.
What we need to do is we need to take Danny and Reese to the barber.
They all get Cade Bickham haircuts?
Yes.
And then we get them Cade Bickham glasses?
4 of them.
Yeah. That'd be sick.
That'd be like that foursome would be crazy.
As a reminder, the final segment of the show is brought to you by Double Dave's. That is at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12 at 979-693-1150 will hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave, serving Aggieland and beyond since 1984. Your favorite pizza and world-famous pepperoni rolls with reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot. That's the key descriptor here. Piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click doubledaves.com and your favorites are on the way. All right, this is going to be short.
Is it because I'm 5'8"?
No. This is the final segment, and we are just up against the clock of the 9 o'clock hour. Ryan Brauninger and Richard Zane, I had planned for Richard to stay here for 30 minutes, and, you just, when the B team starts rolling.
I'm like bed bugs. You can't get rid of me.
We are the greatest drive home show on planet Earth and the moon. And people they needed an entire hour of this. So I'm glad that we were able to satiate that need for so many people. That's what we are, satiators, you and I.
The problem is, this is on like actual radio, which means things that you and I say, the FCC could come start knocking, and that'd be bad for everybody involved.
Here's what would be a bad look for us, is if Olin Buchanan has been on this radio program for
drinks, dude, screwdrivers for everybody.
Taylor, somebody in the chat was.
So someone in the chat said, I'm gonna have to find the comment, but basically, here it is. 30 minutes. I'm 30 minutes behind, but I'm going to have a hard time explaining to my wife if she comes into my office that I'm drinking a screwdriver at 9:30 on a Monday because a guy named Bronny said program 6 times.
You should go with vodka Red Bulls because you need to mix those uppers and some downers. You need some caffeine for the day. I'm just, hey, what do you mean?
You can't advocate for uppers and downers.
It's the summer. It's the summer. Have some fun.
Hey, this guy.
Who cares?
First of all, he is
no rules.
Does he work with his wife or does he work from home?
We need answers.
Sounds like he's working from home.
Does he have alcohol at his office if he works with his wife? And then he is in a job where he's allowed to drink at 9:30 on a Monday morning.
He's also
well, if you turn the webcam off, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
How do you know that?
I'm just assuming.
What do you know about webcams?
Nothing.
That doesn't sound innocent to me.
It is. It is.
Sounds like a lot.
I am innocent. I'm just a 29-year-old little boy, okay?
Can we go to an early out for this?
Nick, let it roll. Let it roll to the heart out. No, we got to keep going.
So Luch will be in here, and we will talk a lot of baseball, get Luch's thoughts from the weekend. It's funny how, last night has dominated the discussion. We haven't even hit on the Lamar or Texas State game. I know that Nick and Cade were working on graphics for those as well. So maybe Luch will get into the entirety of the weekend instead of just looking ahead to tonight. And then Texas A&M football, a couple of reasons to be excited. The Aggies have started to host official visits, had an incredible group of talent on campus this past weekend as they continue their press for the #1 overall class in this 2027 recruiting cycle. So we'll get to Billy whenever he gets here for the final hour of this TexAgs Live on Monday, June the 1st. We'll see you on the other side. All right, welcome back. The final hour of the show this morning, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers inside the Rollo Insurance Studios. We're going to go over to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, where we find Miss Kayla Gaither, who is going to take us around TexAgs today.
Yep. So before I take you around what's on TexAgs today, I'm just going to say it's never a better time to become a TexAgs premium subscriber because there's so much content that we have on the site daily, and there's a lot of baseball happening. So on the site today, we have Richard Zane's recap of last night's loss, and then we have a rapid reaction after last night, and then Jason Howell has been just pumping out content for TexAgs. We have a recruiting article by Jason Howell. Jace Johnson is strengthening bonds among his A&M 2027 class. We also have an article from Jason about pledge Miles Smith locking down his recruitment after the official visit this weekend. And then later on TexAgs, just more baseball content. We're going to have a lot pumping out because A&M is playing USC later on tonight. We also have Bronny's baseball portal thread that I believe the portal opens today, if I'm not mistaken.
It opened at midnight, and so you saw some players that had already filed their paperwork, officially pop up at midnight. But that's a great segue because I do want to talk about that and mentioned it briefly in the top of the show with Olin, just about the strains of being a college baseball coach right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a lot of pressure in these jobs, these high-profile jobs, but whenever you are playing for your season, like 12 teams are today across the country, and also having to worry about next season, this is Jay Johnson's point that he made after the Texas A&M series in Baton Rouge when he went viral for some of his quotes. This is the part of the calendar he was talking about, where they completely misevaled in the transfer portal because they played all the way to the national championship game, and you're trying to balance so many things that the likelihood that something falls through the cracks or you don't do a proper evaluation on the field or off the field and how they're going to fit in your culture, the likelihood of that stuff goes up because there's just too many irons in the fire. There's no way for A&M to balance, or A&M, any school to balance all of that properly. And it goes back to, how did the 2025 Omaha field do this year?
Yeah.
Well, if all of them struggled the way they did, the common denominator was they played late into the season.
Right.
And so they weren't as attentive to every little detail that was going on to build their next season's roster because they couldn't be.
Their focus was more on finishing the season
Absolutely.
that they were in. And if you were Mike Early in this situation, or any head coach who's going through a regional, hopefully getting to a super regional, hopefully going more into the postseason, what would your focus be on as the portal is opening up?
Yeah, you have to. I go back to something that I saw with John Calipari, where he was at Kentucky, and since ESPN or one of the national sports outlets was doing a documentary and following him around in his day-to-day, and he was talking about just your responsibilities are so great that you sometimes lose focus on what you're actually there to do. And so he had a sign above his door that said, "Coach your team." Mm. And so I think with all this stuff going on, that would be the way I would go about it is, all right, my focus today is coaching my team. But there's also an argument to be had that if you just focus on one of these things, everybody else is going to get a leg up on you in the transfer portal. As we welcome in TexAgs co-owner, executive editor, Billy Liucci, who joins us for the remainder of the show. Luch, who would you start tonight? That has been the question.
How many pitches did Sadeo throw?
Well, I have to go look.
I would almost start. I know what not everybody. A lot of people I read about, just read commentary on it. I get the temptation to start fresh corn.
Sadeo had 52 pitches.
52.
Okay. I get the temptation to start fresh corn. I really do, just because I just think throughout the course of the year, he's been obviously without question, one of your two best pitchers. He seems to have the mental, I know he's got it in his background, but he also just seems like probably the most mentally tough guy on that staff. Not a knock on anybody else. I mean, we've seen some, I think I would describe as soft starts this year. I've also seen some badass starts from guys that, that's
Weston
kind of
Moss.
been, like up and down. Like Weston Moss, what he overcame to kind of give up, the way it went against Auburn, and then to come back and give up 2 home runs early in that game to Texas State, and then pitch the way he did. That's the very definition of mental toughness in season defining game at that moment. But wire to wire, I think without question, Freshcorn's been that guy. And you know this. I mean, how many innings of stuff does he have? He might have 4 innings of stuff on a.
I bet he could get you 80 to 90 pitches.
Yeah. So depending on how it goes, maybe he can get you into the 5th, or if things are going well. But he just now you give up. You kind of give up all control at the end of a game.
That's right. But outs are outs, and they're all important. One's not more important than 27.
Yeah.
So give me a number that Clayton Freshcorn's going to get of those. 15?
Yeah.
Where are your other 12 coming from?
Yeah.
Against an offense that's really feeling themselves.
And to me, so you need some hope, just even if you're just hoping against hope to cool that offense down. It might have as much to do with them just going to bed. USC just leaving that ballpark and going in a hotel, and it's almost like, when you get beat that bad, it's like, hey, go sleep it off.
It's easier to sleep it off.
But it's kind of like, get this damn team away from home plate, get them in a night off, and let's see if they come back and can replicate it tomorrow. I mean, we've seen that a million times, and we've seen it with this team where they get clubbed and they come back and then they look like world beaters. We saw it against Georgia. We saw it against Auburn, even though they lost that series. We saw it against Mississippi State. They're resilient, but the pitching it's not gone because, unfortunately, Bronny, some of them have pitched so poorly that they're not overtaxed. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, it's like, here you are, guys, like it's your last, and look, baseball, I've been doing this a long time, talking about it, covering it. Don't be sensitive to what we say over here. I'm so sick and tired of that crap. Quit being sensitive. We are as positive an outlet as there is probably anywhere. And that goes for any, coaches, athletes. I'm so tired of the sensitivity of, you're going to pick something negative and take great offense to it and ignore the 90 positive things that were said. Grow up. And I'm talking about everybody here. I'm talking about top down, every sport. Same thing if you're going to do that. And meanwhile, the rest of the people paint us as only positive, but then you get people go, they're too. I'm so sick of it. You're going to see a side of me, man, that you don't like. That. That's what's going to happen. But with that said, the pitching has not been good outside of Weston Moss, who was incredible. Thank God he pitched the way he did, because I don't think they might be out of this regional by now. But guys have it in them. Gavin Lyons has shown it repeatedly this year. We just talked about Freshcorn. Sadeo has it in him to maybe come out of the pen and get you a couple of clean innings when you desperately need them today. We know he does.
Would you start him or bring him out of the pen?
That's my question, because to me, Sadeo, Shane seems to have something right now where he's not getting off to good starts. So I kind of would almost want to bring him out of the pen, but then you're changing what Freshcorn does. So, and
I think if you're going to pitch Shane, if he's part of the plan today, I think you have to start him, because
you have to bring him into me in a clean inning for sure.
You don't trust him because of the ups and downs.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can bring the guy to the bullpen that you don't trust. If you start him and he's good Shane, boy, that's massive.
Oh, yeah.
And every out he squeezes, the best version of him can get you 4 innings.
Yeah.
And then you hand the ball to Freshcorn and say, go as long as you can, and you feel good about it.
That's true.
But if you start Freshcorn and for whatever reason, either it goes sideways for him or he runs out of gas and then the game's in the balance and then you got to go to Sadeo in the middle innings, it may get dicey.
Yeah.
And that's why Olin asked me, he's like, how many runs do you think A&M needs to score tonight to win the game? And it's an impossible answer. But you'd think like one an inning. And if that's the case, like what does that alter what you do with the lineup? There's a lot.
I would alter. Well, what would you do to alter it for more offense? You tell me. I heard y'all talking about it, but
I think Jordan's got to play.
I do too, because the bottom of the lineup has not been. I mean, the bottom couple.
If they're not getting on base, man,
and they're not. Just the reality. That's factual. I mean, that's statistically, generally. You've got to. I think they've got to. I've said this before. Where I've thought A&M needed to score 9 or 10, and they or 10, 11, and they haven't needed to. It's more like 8. Like maybe final game against Mississippi State, game 3 against Auburn. You thought they might, and I think they won that game 5-4. Game 3 against Ole Miss. Well, they might have to slug it out again. Well, 6 runs would have won you that one, or 6 or 7. So it just feels that way for sure. But again, like, to me, they need 2, like, just, hey, I'm going to be a badass today type pitching performances.
And you feel good about one of those.
Today, you said fresh score. If you got those 2, or if it was Lions, what did he throw, 30 pitches yesterday?
Yeah, he bounces back. He'll be able to. And there's a lot of people asking about Moss, and I'm just like, it's 91 pitches. I know he used to come out of the bullpen, but typically your 48 hours after your start is when you're the most sore.
Yeah.
So I think he and Mason Edwards for USC are both on the shelf. And a lot of this discussion surrounds like, what is USC going to do on the mound? Yesterday could not have gone any better for them, both of those games.
Yeah, that was awful. I mean, that's a losing formula for A&M in this series, unfortunately. Now they can overcome it. I mean, they can overcome it by the, top half of the order in the first inning tonight, change the whole tune, just like USC did last night. And we know they can do that.
Yep.
But as far as just how you wanted it to go, that was the most detrimental thing to A&M winning this regional, was the way yesterday went, both from Texas State and from A&M. And look, I was messing with Zane during the game because I know what you were doing. And I knew it because I saw how hard we were hitting the ball. And I knew you were going exit velo early in the game.
Early in the game, it was a legitimate argument. Yeah. Then it completely fell off the table because.
So I kept texting him every time they'd hit a 480-foot home run. I'm like, what was the exit velo
Those were
on that one?
All of them. Their home runs were 105 cheap. Plus.
Yeah, they weren't cheap. Nor was Gavin's, which was. That's the top 5 I've ever seen here at Bluebell. That was incredible.
Farthest I've ever seen to left field.
And he's been just, yeah.
Jace hit one to center. We were talking about this in 2024 against Sam in the midweek that went cleared the batter's eye. I think it was like 478 on TrackMan. So that
Targach hit a couple, but I think his biggest ones were on the road. Remember that LSU series on the road?
He hit one at Stanford that one of the Stanford players told me that was like, we have never seen a ball hit that far.
But then you also, I was here during the Dalen Holt era.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And I mean he would routinely hit Rex, but that's the top 5 for sure. And like you said, I think it's the furthest I've ever seen to left. But look, Gavin, Sorrell, Hakopian, Bear.
Dewar's been good.
Dewar's been great all weekend. Gavin's been great. I mean, those other guys, some of those guys I mentioned have been good. Hakopian's hit 2 bombs. But, like, they're just going to have to. It's just whether that game is, 8-7 or, 12-10, they're just going to have to hit whoever gets on the bump for USC. And you've got to reach a point as a competitor to say, I've got to be completely locked in here and draw walks and hit good pitches and stay engaged in the game because it's going to be a long one. Hopefully I'm going to come up to bat 5 times tonight and just say, this is it for us. We have to win this game. And I do think they're still going to have to win it at the plate.
Yep.
But there's got to be a contribution from the pitching staff. And that includes, like, to me, if you're Ethan Darden, this is my thing. Like, how many, 16 pitches?
Yeah, 4 runs and 16 pitches.
I'm just like, I don't know him at all. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But, like, at what point do you go, dude, I want to be out there again today. Like, screw this. That is not me. That was bad. And I've had a couple of them. Like, give me the damn ball. Let me go get 2-3 innings in this one to show everyone, show myself that I'm not. These guys can't do that to me. What they did last night. And like, so somebody, it might be him. Like, somebody's has to just elevate. Like, see old Sadeo. And I always think when I'm talking about Sadeo, and you're the baseball bard here, I feel for him because I still have to think like he's not what he was pre-injury yet. And I know that's
not even speculation. You can look at the actual numbers, the data, and it'll tell you it's very
so
inconsistent.
without looking at that, I can see it and be like, he's not. And it's because of injury, because that's a tough dude. And like, I like the way he competes. It killed. I think we win a World Series if Shane doesn't get hurt against Oregon. I think we win that World Series. We always talk about Braden. That's obvious, even though Caden Kent came in and did some amazing stuff. But to me, if you could have even managed, not to say Braden was more important, Sadeo was more important to the team, but just the way all of that went, when you lost Braden in game 1, had you not lost Sadeo in game 2, I think Texas A&M wins that College World Series, because guess when he's starting? He's starting on
game
Saturday.
3, yeah.
No, he's starting. He just started game 2.
Yeah, game 3, because game 3 was Zane Badmiev was the starter.
Yeah, but 2 was like, was it Tanner Jones pitched like an inning?
Oh, and then
Sadeo was your game
Cortez
2.
Went. You're right. Cortez
Sadeo was your game 2 starter in the Super.
Yeah.
So he would have been game 2 against Tennessee. And by the way, even had they lost that game, what would that have set you up for in game 3?
Yeah.
You'd have had Cortez, who you didn't have. So I think Shane, I've seen it. And I know that this year has been, dude, and I know people say, what, a year, Tommy John, you're better.
Where they're doing the brace now, so the recoveries are taking longer. But it's better for the long-term health of the athlete.
Okay.
But they are.
I didn't know that, so that makes a little more sense. I just feel like I'd always heard, well, you're a year back from, was it Prager?
Yeah.
A year back, but like everybody's different. It's like an ACL. They're like, oh, you're better. Well, Patrick Mahomes is going to be better. It feels like he's better in 8 months. Some people, if they say 11, 12 months, it might be 13 for somebody or 14.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we've seen, but maybe he can do it for one night.
It's a good segue into the conversation. When we come back, we want to get into, we'll talk lineup tonight, maybe what you would do. And then I also want to talk about baseball transfer portal opening. And the challenge is not just for Michael Early, but every coach on campus managing this, because what you said about Sadeo coming back, we both know Coach Early. I don't think he is going – he rolled the dice and he bet on his guy. But now he knows, if I've got a guy coming off of injury, I need an insurance policy. Yeah. And it's going to probably change the way he attacks the portal. So we'll talk about that when we come back more with Billy Liucci here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. 10:24 on a Monday morning. We appreciate you joining us here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers inside the Raleigh Insurance Studios. Ryan Brauninger in the host chair. David returns tomorrow. I'm with Billy Liucci, Kayla Gaither in the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Luch talking about baseball transfer portal opening today and just the juggling that every coach across the country is doing, but especially those that are playing postseason games today are advancing to a super regional. This is the point that Jay Johnson was making after A&M swept the Tigers in Baton Rouge. And baseball, there's none of this is easy for Mike Elko. It's not easy for Bucky McMillan. It's probably not easy for Jamie Morrison and Trisha Ford, but it is what it is. But baseball and softball, because the seasons butt up to school starting, and they have to announce, you have to turn in a roster in the fall that you cannot make additions to in the spring.
Yeah.
So they are really, that space is real truncated.
Part of it, it's almost, part of me wants to go, well, isn't that kind of the built-in way that it's like pro sports where the worst teams get the highest draft pick? But it's that's not, it shouldn't be that way because this is not pro sports as much as it feels like it these days. I was thinking about USC. I was talking to a USC fan yesterday at the game. Really nice couple. Like, guy grew up in Iowa, ended up USC, who's really good friends with their old baseball coach. What was his name? The legend. Was it McKay? No. But anyway, he was saying he was really good friends with him, like when he was in college somehow. And so he's been a big USC baseball fan. And they flew all the way out here, said this is probably our only chance to see it unless we ever meet you guys in the playoffs at Kyle Field, yada, yada. Anyway, we're talking. And he was pretty knowledgeable, say, about USC's NIL and the way they distribute among sports. And it sounds like, baseball's way down on that list. So I was just thinking about baseball, right? It's almost like, would USC, unless they go to Omaha, would they be better off to come in here and like underperform and lose and not impress Mike Early and A&M too much? Because you got guys that are coming here and just, rake for 2 days or for a whole weekend, and the Aggie coaching staff sees them, and all of a sudden those guys are on a portal radar that USC can't, or is more appropriately, is unwilling to keep up with. Like, and that, I'm using this as an example. I obviously haven't heard anything, but I'm just using common sense here because that's going on all over college baseball. It's typically going to be more so at the what we call it. Do we refer to baseball as mid-major?
Yeah, mid-majors, not
the mid-major levels. That's obviously plays a big role, right? I mean, but
it's funny,
even,
Billy.
Even across big time, USC is a much better program historically than A&M will ever be. We're not going to catch them in national championships. I mean, obviously, in the last, I don't know how many years, A&M's been a better program, but my point is, even in that instance, it is like a problem for them to try to keep up with a lot of these schools to keep up with these SEC teams.
You saw that in the U of H baseball coaching search, and what we were hearing was that a lot of these coaches that had interest, the U of H is like, hey, we're just not funding it toward the top of the Big 12.
Yeah. So with that said, like I heard what you were saying earlier, and it is for Coach Early. When you have Sims, what he's going through. And by the way, can we just say something like Sims and people, I talked the other day about it. This is not sour grapes on Mike Early's part because he told you and he's told me, the Aggies also, people think about Caden McCoy and they've kind of forgotten. Everybody thinks about Stewie. The last time we really saw Stewie, he was mowing people down in Omaha. I know he came back for a minute, he was mowing people down in Omaha. And you just thought you might have the best closer in college baseball last year and again this year, and you didn't have him for either. You lose McCoy. People have forgotten what a big blow that was. But the one no one talks about, right, is the true freshman.
Yeah, David Ramirez.
And again, I go back to say, this is not early talking about this now. This is early before the season, like in the fall, telling us, and a year ago right now when A&M's season ended, told me, I think he's a Sunday starter and work his way up from there. So they've lost a lot. But when you lost Aiden Sims, and I say they lost him, there was hope because it wasn't a definitive season ending.
It wasn't a ligament
It was a
tear.
required
Yeah.
surgery. It wasn't a season
Right.
ending. There was hope that the rest would help, and it didn't, unfortunately. But when that happened, it's like they go from a team that could make a run at it because of that lineup. And because when you get a start like Moss, or you get a relief weekend from Lions and Fresh Corn, that they can kind of almost win a game themselves from innings 4 to 9. You can win a Super, you can go 2-0, and almost, like it's there on the table. Without Sims, man, that was a crushing blow. Now excuses are gone. You got to have guys step up, but when it comes to a decimating injury, that was it, because we all know he was the only truly reliable
and
rotation starter.
With the evidence that you have now in front of your eyes, with Grahovic and Sorrell being healthy this year, you know the impact of a fully healthy lineup or a fully healthy pitching staff. Now, you mentioned it's not an excuse, because here's the issue: you can look at the pitching and go, the injuries have been a huge gut punch. Mm-hmm. But where's the development piece too of these guys getting better throughout the year?
For sure.
So there's two sides to the coin there.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know what the portal looked like, but also, like, if you had it to do over again, and now he's going to get a chance to do it over again.
They rolled the dice on Carson Bailey.
Well,
remember that?
You definitely rolled the dice on Carson Bailey, because, again, I don't think there was a lot out there, or I don't know what their draw was, and that's for early to figure out how he affects and changes that draw, and hopefully the facilities will play a big part in that too. But, meaning the new player development facility that they're able to sell. But now if you're early, you go, okay, Sims, season ended, should be fine, but Ramirez, Tommy John, right? And
Tommy John.
McCoy, and we just saw where we were talking, is Sadeo all the way back? We don't believe so. So you're thinking about that, and it's like, this could be great, but we've got to go get real dudes in the portal. And I've got to figure out how to get real arms in the portal. And we watch these SEC teams come in here.
Not just SEC teams. I'll watch Texas State roll out guys that
USC,
were 95 to 97. I'll watch U of H come in here and roll out guys in the midweek that were bigger arms.
And look,
and that's not the be all end all of pitching.
But you need all of it.
Yes,
I think you don't only. I mean, I don't trust Stephen. Look, Mississippi State had some big freaking arms, and the Aggies scored how many runs the last
29.
2 games? So
29 total runs.
Yeah, so it's not. Well, in the last 2, they scored 24 of them.
Was it 12 to?
Anyway, but they pummeled them.
Yeah.
So you need a mix, but man, I do think they need more power in on that pitching staff, and he'll do that. And then maybe of those 3 guys, maybe 2 of them are ready to go next year, and all of a sudden you go, man, we're pretty loaded up in pitching all of a sudden. But you have to approach it that way if you're Mike Early, and you have to figure out what's it going to take for me to go out and get those kind of arms.
And you got to go, to me, in this league, physicality reigns supreme.
Yes.
And you're losing Hakopian, you're losing Sorrell, you're losing Grahovic, you're losing Bear. That's
depressing.
That's a lot of physicality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're going to have to go, and he can do that. We know hitting wise that should take care of it.
I'm sure they're already 3 steps down the road on that.
But the pitching side of it, you need the physicality too.
Yeah.
And they don't have it this year. So
and with that said, there's a game tonight, and there might be 2-3 games next weekend, and there might be more games, even though we don't feel like, right now everybody's like, oh man, this is deflating last night, or North Carolina looks really good. Just
it's baseball.
Auburn got pummeled by Wisconsin, Milwaukee. We were sitting here talking about how no one can touch Auburn's pitching. They look like the best team. We all said that. Everyone around the SEC said it wasn't just us. UCLA, everyone's talking about how elite they were. UCLA didn't just lose in their own regional. They didn't even make it to the regional championship, and they lost twice to the 4 seed, not once.
Billy, everybody, some of the most popular picks to win the national championship going into this tournament: UCLA, Georgia Tech, and
Auburn. Yeah.
2 of those, one of those is eliminated. The other 2 playing
probably
games
Carolina.
today.
I'll give them credit.
I would have put them a tier below.
Yeah.
Like them in Texas, I'd have put a tier behind those top 3.
Yeah.
And Auburn and Georgia Tech are
And
playing.
Georgia, that's the other one.
Yeah, Georgia.
those 4. You're right.
But those 2 are playing for the same thing that A&M's playing for today.
And one of them's not.
Yeah.
No, one of them's not. So 3 of those 4 are in A&M's position or
worse.
And it's baseball. It's college baseball, and which is also why USC can score 30 runs yesterday and come back and score 6 today.
Yeah.
And the Aggies could be the team that scores 18. We know that. Now I'll say this: like SC's pitching, to have that guy come out today as your third, the 4th game, but really your 3rd guy, essentially, right? Your 3rd best.
That was their Sunday starter, yeah.
Yeah, to pitch like that against this lineup. And look, here's what I said to someone. It doesn't matter. I'm not a guy that cares too much about this. I was joking with the exit velos, and I was texting saying, I go, tell Bronny it's 4-1. That's the only number.
That's right. That's all that matters.
And we joke about this all. Y'all don't understand. Me and him and Zane, it's an ongoing thing. But I will say, like, I think if these teams played that game again today, those same pitchers, I think USC was riding a heater at the plate. I don't think that looks much different. But I do think that A&M was smoking the ball for a good portion of that game. And I do think if they faced him again, I'm not saying they score 14 runs. I think, though, they score enough early to where they knock him out 3rd, 4th inning of that game, and everything looks a lot differently. They were hitting him on the screws a lot of times right at people, from Gavin, the first at-bat, on through about once that game got out of hand.
All right, we'll flip the script when we come back. A&M with a huge recruiting weekend. Also some national college football news to get to with Billy when we return here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Everyone, David Nuno here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever, and also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group, and they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
Welcome back to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. A couple more segments here on this Monday show. Over the weekend, more news comes out about, I guess, former Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby. Although a final decision has not been reached, it does not look like he is going to be eligible to play for Texas Tech. Billy, according to agreed-upon stipulated facts included in court documents, Sorsby made at least 2,900 bets totaling more than $30,000 while Indiana from June 22nd through December 2023. Those included at least 40 bets on Hoosiers games and players, though he didn't bet on games in which he played. Furthermore, he continued to betting after transferring to Cincinnati, though not on the Bearcats, and started using accounts not in his name. These documents show that between Christmas 2023 and June 23rd of 2025, Sorsby provided more than $60,000 to a friend to deposit into a FanDuel account registered to his brother-in-law that was shared by Sorsby and a friend. There was also a report that he was sending money out of state to gamble while he was in Texas. This is as big of a gambling scandal as college football has maybe ever seen. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
You got it.
And there's no way, despite him playing the poor me, filing the injunction, and he was trying to associate gambling addiction with drugs and alcohol, which I'm not trying. They're all vices, correct? And they're all legitimate. But the NCAA, because if you drink too much or you do too many drugs, that puts the integrity of your game in jeopardy. When you bet on the entire thing, that puts the integrity of the whole game in jeopardy. There's no way they can reinstate him.
No, I don't think it's possible. That is just such a damning amount of evidence. It's shocking, honestly, when you hear it. Like, yes. I literally tuned out as you kept going because I was like, okay, I've heard enough. Like, I don't care what else you say. You can keep making it worse and worse and worse. Like, we've already passed the point where I'm like, there's no way this guy could compete in college football anymore. Amateur athletics, whatever you want to call it today, I don't care. There's no way he can compete. And I laugh at the idea that we're going to sit here and operate thinking he didn't bet while he was playing the freaking quarterback position of all things. We're going to act like that guy who controls the game more than anyone. He was like, man, I can't do that. I can send $60,000 out. I can go across states. I can do it at 3 different schools, but I can't do it in games that hey guys, I'm sorry.
Billy, he was betting on pitch outcomes.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Reds games.
And then you start thinking about how much does a guy like that owe at times, and does he try to, I don't care how much you get in NIL, you owe money. You don't want to give, in your mind at that point as a gambling addict, you think you're giving money away because you still have it. So what does he do then? What's the easiest way to not do that is to win back. Well, how do you win back the easiest when you're a quarter? I don't trust it. I don't think the game's going to trust it. And then I also think even if they said, hey, we don't care about what we think you did or might do, that doesn't even matter. We're talking about what we know you did, and it's overwhelming. It's too much. And it is crazy because this is like he was as high profile a player as there was in the portal. He's I think, minimum $5 million guy. I forget what Tech said. And Tech needs to stop fighting for this too, because I think it's a really bad look to continue fighting to get this guy. There's at what point do you draw the line, Joey McGuire
and Cody Campbell?
Cody, at what point do you just say hey, okay, we can go and complain about a Friday night game. We can go and the whole thing with Texas and Sark. I think it's really
that
stupid.
That was my next point.
Well, I'm more stupid. I think the media is more dumb for this, and everyone from McAfee to anyone that covers college football. Like, if you're jumping on this outside of just going, man, I love the drama. If that's your thing, this is great. It's off season. Bring on the drama.
Yeah.
Let these coaches get pissed off. And if Texas Tech sat in a room and said, hey, let's do this because Sark shouldn't have opened his mouth. What he said was right.
But Sark never said Texas Tech.
But come on. What he said was right, and it was about Texas Tech, 100%. So if you sat there, and if like me and you, if someone did that on some level to us or TexAgs, and we were like, you know what, let's do this and get at them because we didn't initiate this. They did.
Mm-hmm.
So forget them. I went to Marcel's camp Saturday, an incredible event. TexAgs was out there to cover it. The first one's out there to cover it. Marcel did a great job. The whole event was cool. The kids loved it. I had friends there whose kids were in it. Matt Bumgardner, got to see him. It was great. But a lot of young TexAgs fans out there, and I mean 8, 10-year-old kids. So we're going to not say what I wanted to say there. But, like, if you want to be like, let's go get at them, like, forget that. We're not putting up with it. Let's really get their goat. If that was the conversation between McGuire and Campbell and said, hey, we can do this and really turn this around on them and get us some good pub, I'm fine with it. If you really think you're going to get them to play a game, then it's just complete naivete and it's stupidity. And for the media, if anybody outside of going, dude, this is fun, it's the off season, we got the head coaches of 2 in-state schools talking smack, we've got headlines to get now that we didn't have otherwise, let's have some fun with this, then I'm good with it. If you think that it's a real thing and that those teams should play and yada yada, then A, I think you're naive, and B, I think it's really really stupid to even think that why would Texas and the Longhorns even remotely entertain that? Maybe if there was no Ohio State on their schedule, it'd be a different conversation as far as like, hey, why wouldn't they, outside of the logistical nightmare, which already keeps it from happening. But hey, why wouldn't they? Well, it's because the next weekend you're playing the Ohio State University and Sayin and Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Day and the freaking Buckeyes on your home field. It's stupid. But if Tech was doing it just to kind of call out, put Texas in a PR loss, I'm all for it because Sark started it. I'm fine with Sark pointing that out, but there are ramifications. He lit the match on that one. He threw the match down. Now, he could have said the same thing without being quite as specific. And I believe Elko's probably said stuff like that before, where it's like, it's not equal across all kinds. He just went dramatic with it and went to an extreme, and it kind of backfired.
All right, we come back. We'll close the show with Billy Liucci. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst.
All right, well, real quick, final segment of the show. We may go a little bit long. You can join us on texags.com/live if we go into overtime here with Billy Liucci. I want to talk recruiting. Texas A&M kicks off their official visit campaign in style with 15 official visitors, a lot of which were on the high-profile side, including some uncommitted 5-stars, both in-state and out-of-state. This is a class that a lot of folks thought that they could get to number one in this recruiting cycle. They're already there and are moving like they are not getting closer to the pack but further away.
Yeah, and this type of weekend could be what separates that, right? And you had some commits here, but some of the biggest names, and I think from everything I've gathered, they went in a great spot with McFarland, a 5-star wide receiver, and I think they came out of it in an even better spot, if that's possible, because they were already like
it felt like Mark Matthews' trend going into the weekend.
Yeah, it felt great. It's felt great for a while. Weekend not only didn't change that, it only enhanced it. I think the Aggies made by all accounts, a tremendous push with John Meredith. And here's the thing to remember about Meredith, and he could end up in College Station or Austin. I think we both agree that could end up still either way. But like Meredith started out for a long time, he looked like, if I were to be a betting man, a future Aggie for a long part of his early recruitment. There is a connection, there's a bond there. I think there's a feel like a very high security level with John, his family, his camp. Like they know what he's got at A&M, and I think they know that's a fit, and that probably feels good, feels right. That doesn't mean he can't end up at Texas. There are other things at play in terms of playing time. There's always NIL. There's always, you're a recruit that's uncommitted. You can change your mind. There are momentum swings, and the momentum to me clearly swung to Texas, and I think it swung back. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, A&M comes out of this as the front runner or anything, but I do think the Aggies had a terrific weekend on the John Meredith front, and I think that was a big plus coming out of this weekend is the job they did with the 5-star corner.
All right, we are going to go a little bit. You want to go overtime? Because we do want to talk about Carson Gordon. So, Nick, are we good to keep on rolling? Okay, so TexAgs overtime. Do I have that sponsorship read? It used to be not sponsored anymore.
Sponsor that. Come on, Miranda.
We are everybody's for sale here.
So, Frederick Ard.
It's another one.
I'm a big fan, and he's a little bit different of an end. I think he's going to be a really big defensive